It is often said that hair is not just a part of a body, it is a part of a personality. But as temperatures rise, we all know how challenging it can be to maintain healthy and gorgeous locks during the summer months. From UV damage to chlorine exposure, the summer season can wreak havoc on our hair, leaving it dry, frizzy, and prone to breakage. But fear not, all your hair care worries will be taken care of today. Hello, viewers, and welcome to another episode of Frequel's panel discussion series. I'm your host, Monica Anand, and today I'm super thrilled to have two renowned dermatologists with me who specialize in hair care, Dr. Anika and Dr. Ipshita. Both of them will be sharing their wealth of knowledge on how to achieve healthy, luscious locks all season long. Hi, Dr. Anika and Dr. Ipshita.
Hi, Monica. I'm really excited to share this information with our viewers today.
Hello, everyone. It's lovely to be here and share my favorite topic, hair care knowledge, with all of you.
Welcome, Dr. Anika and Dr. Ipshita. So my first question is for Dr. Anika. First and foremost, can you tell us why summer and hair problems go hand in hand? I need to know why there's more prone to damage in summers.
So, Monica, that's a great question. What I believe is that extremes of weather, whether it's very hot or very cold, they tend to lead to a lot of issues with the hair, whether it's the scalp or the hair. So now, basically what happens is when it's very hot, you can have more of dryness, brittleness to the hair, more frizziness. There's more sweating, there's more chlorine if we're going outdoors, swimming, more outdoor activities, more, so just in general, a lot of sweating happens. Our sebum glands tend to be a little more active. There's a lot of humidity around. So all of this kind of does impact the hair. For some people, that might even be a positive. But, the point is extremes of everything is not always great. So the best thing, what I feel is that you should just have a regular routine and you should kind of know how to deal with your hair in these situations. UV damage, especially, is actually quite bad. And we always talk about UV damage in our skin, but we actually don't talk about UV damage for our hair as much. And that is also a factor. Our hair is also kind of, a live part of our body, and it does get damaged by the UV rays. And a lot of the common problems we see in the summer is more of dandruff due to like overgrowth of fungus on the scalp, more of itchiness in the scalp, more of oiliness, maybe oily scalp, dry hair, frizzy hair, brittle hair, and these are a lot of the issues we tend to see more of during the summer season.
Yeah, that was excellent, Dr. Anika. I also feel like summers are a sort of a season where, our scalp tends to look more greasy and our hair starts looking more, drier or prone to breakage or something like that, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So my next question is for Dr. Ipshita. Can you tell us some tips to prevent dryness and frizzy hair this summer?
Sure. So, Dr. Anika very well explained the problems that can happen and why they are happening. So now we are all on the same page. We know that it's the UV, we know it's the summer, it's the dry weather. So we need to take care of the products that we are using for our hair. We need to modify them. We cannot continue things that we were using in winters. First thing is we need to change, same like how we change our wardrobes during summer. We need to change our hair products to things which are more cleansing for the scalp but hydrating for the strands. That is how we can have a good, well maintained hair locks, and along with that, clean scalp so that we do not face issues like dandruff or sebum accumulation on the scalp. So make sure that you're using a good clarifying shampoo that cleanses your scalp. We're using a conditioner that is more hydrating. It can have ingredients which are more hydrating like hyaluronic or ceramides, and you need to leave on the conditioner for quite a bit. So I've seen this practice that many people in a hurry to wash their hair, they will wash with this shampoo, immediately apply a conditioner, but you need to take a little gap, just drip. The dripping hair should be dried with a towel first, and then once the water dripping stops, and then you can apply your conditioner to the hair strands. Make sure that you're leaving conditioner for a minimum of 5 minutes, and you can leave it up to 10 minutes if you have a lot of dryness happening over there. And if you have very dry hair towards the ends, or you have split ends, you have frizziness, in that case, you can even switch to Masks. So once a week you can apply a hair mask, and then maybe twice a week you can use conditioner with your shampoo. And also using serums is a very good idea. Just like for a dry skin, you apply moisturizer 2 or 3 times in a day. Similarly, you can use your serums for the hair ends twice or thrice a day. Or definitely, it has to be used after every shampoo because we need to nourish the hair back of all the moisture that needs to be there.
Yeah, Dr. Ipshita, I would like to ask you something. I see a lot of women or people with long hairs or staying away from oiling their hair during summers, saying that it's bad for your hair or your scalp. Can you explain like how we can oil our hair during the summer, or if it has a positive effect or a negative effect on our hair during summers?
Oiling is definitely a good idea. Most of the people use oil to stop hair fall, but the penetration of oil is not so much on the scalp, but it is a good penetration on the hair strands. So it's more of a conditioning effect with an oil. So you can take any oil that suits you. Ideally, it should be applied 1 hour before shampoo, and then you can also use a hot towel wrap so that the steam will also make the oil penetrate better into your hair strands. And post that, you can use your shampoo and your hair washing routine. So twice or thrice a week oiling of hair is also a good option.
So we could possibly just use it 1 hour before our shampoo routine, right? Do you also suggest oiling hair for people with scalp dandruff?
Not so much. If you have dandruff, I would always recommend to avoid oil because dandruff, although it looks like dryness on the scalp or scaling, which or flaking, which people think that it's actually happening because of dryness, but it's actually happening because of more sebum secretion and more oil secretion on the scalp. So we do not want any extra oil over there because if you have too much oil on the scalp, it is going to attract fungus, and then your itching is going to increase. So your dandruff attracts fungus and that becomes more itchy and results in an itchy scalp. So if you have a dandruff issue, you should definitely avoid oiling.
Yeah, so we can just possibly just oil the lens for the day and just go for a wash, right?
Yes, you can use the oil on the strands. On the scalp, you can use certain things like neem or curd or lemon. These are certain home remedies that can be applied on the scalp to cure the dandruff part. And then just for the strands, you can use your oil, serum, mask, conditioner to take away the dryness.
So that's fantastic. It's like treating your concerns like one at a time. So that was beautiful, Dr. Ipshita. And my next question is for Dr. Anika. Dr. Anika, can you tell us like how we can prevent hair fall this summer, and what are the best ways we can promote healthy hair growth?
Yeah, so that's again a great question. Now, it's important to understand that hair fall is multifactorial. So, a lot of times we just relate it to seasonal change, and that is true. Sometimes with change of season, there can be a little bit more hair loss and hair fall, but we also have to take other factors into consideration. So, some general tips are make sure you're cleansing regularly, make sure that you're, at least 2 to 3 times in a week. A lot of people are not even doing that much. If you have a very oily scalp, you can even cleanse daily. You should be adding in vitamins to your diet, whether you're getting them naturally or through supplementation. So, vitamins like iron, omega, fatty acids, and magnesium, calcium, and proteins, especially. So, Indian diet tends to be a little low on protein. Minerals, protein are very important in the diet to maintain hair loss. So, again, sometimes people say, oh, but my diet hasn't changed. But you also have to realize now if you're having active hair fall, that means you need to boost up your diet to kind of compensate for the hair loss. Even though your diet may not have been ideal before and it hasn't changed, now you do have hair fall. So your body needs those extra supplements, vitamins, and protein. So vitamins and minerals to keep in mind are iron, calcium, omega, and proteins. So in proteins for vegetarians, you have soya, tofu, dairy products. For non-vegetarians, you have many more options. You have eggs, chicken, fish, and so forth. But every meal should have one portion of veggies, one portion of protein, so that you're getting that proper balance. So that is really, really important. And some of the other things to keep in mind is that make sure that whatever condition you have, you're treating it accordingly. So, for example, if you have dandruff, please use an anti-dandruff shampoo along with your other regular shampoos. Please use, a sulfate. Even if you have like an oily scalp, you can use shampoos that have sulfates. I know we keep talking about using sulfate and paraben-free shampoos. That's fine if you have a dry scalp or maybe even a normal scalp. But if you're very oily, sulfates do help to cleanse the scalp as well. And again, if you're very oily, you should be washing the hair more regularly. You should be cleansing your scalp regularly rather than, prolonging it and then using a very intense shampoo to get out all the extra oil. That will kind of have the reverse effect because it's getting very oily, itchy, dandruff, and then you're kind of stripping it down and then it's very dry. So these are some of the things to keep in mind.
I also think that most of us fail to recognize that stress or mental health is one of the major reasons that, that will affect our hair growth levels and cause more hair fall on a daily basis. What do you think we can do just in case to manage our stress levels and promote healthy hair growth?
That when someone has a lot of stress in their life, whether it's even post, say, pregnancy, which is a type of stress on our body, or a surgical procedure, or any of these factors can lead to a sudden hair loss. And sometimes it won't be immediate, it'll be after a few, like a month or 2 months. So now you have to deal with it. I've had a lot of patients come in and tell me that, oh, but stress is normal, or oh, I always have stress, or yeah, I think we have to stop normalizing being stressed and start working on tactics to reduce the stress, and just understanding that you are under stress and we need to kind of relieve that stress. Because right now we're talking about hair fall, but as a doctor you have to realize stress has so many other negative implications, whether it's blood sugar, blood bp, heart attacks. All of these things have predisposing factors of stress as well. So hair fall is very small in the big picture of things, but to kind of deal with stress, things like meditation, yoga, exercise, even kickboxing, anything that makes you happy. I feel like anything, any form of exercise, any form of movement that makes you happy is the best way to kind of be a stress buster for yourself. Like, it's in your hand to get your stress levels down. I think everyone has something, meditation, and I think that helped me. So everyone's a little different. I have patients who say, okay, we love to dance, or I like going for walks, maybe just listening to music and going for a walk. So whatever makes you happy, whatever gets you moving is great.
So my next question is for Dr. Ipshita. Dr. Ipshita, can you help us, like, what products or ingredients should we look in for a shampoo?
So the shampoo market, if you see, is coming up with a new ingredient every day. You will see a lot of advertisements with different kind of oils, different kind of ingredients that have been added in the shampoo, and they are claiming to do various functions. The first thing that we need to understand when we are using or selecting a shampoo is that the basic function of a shampoo is to clean your scalp. And the contact time of a shampoo on the scalp is very less. It's hardly 30 seconds. And that can hardly make a difference. If you add a lot of ingredients, you will hardly have any absorption in such a small time. So it's not like an oil that we're leaving on for an hour, or it's not like a conditioner we're leaving for a certain amount of time. Shampoo, the basic function is cleansing. So the first thing is it should actually remove the scales, remove the dead skin, the debris that is accumulated on the scalp. And for that, you need to use a shampoo that is cleansing, but at the same time, not damaging or not very strong. So this is where the role of sulfate-free or pH balanced shampoos come in. So for frequent use, you should select a shampoo which first thing is pH balanced. It is not going to make your scalp more acidic or more alkaline. So you will be prevented from a lot of scalp problems. Other than that, it should be cleansing and hydrating for the scalp, should not be damaging. And as Dr. Anika said, that once in a while you can use shampoos with sulfates for a deep cleansing effect, or you can use shampoos which have specific ingredients like antifungal medications like ketoconazole, or if you have a lot of oily scalp, you can use a shampoo which has salicylic acid, and you can leave on the shampoo for around 2 minutes just on the scalp, not on the hair strand, so that the scalp can be acted upon and the sebum can be regulated on the scalp. So this is where a sebum regulating antifungal shampoo comes into play. However, if you're looking for a more nourishing ingredient, you can go for shampoos which have keratin, which have argan oil. So a layer of these products on the scalp is definitely hydrating for the scalp, and they will leave your hair more supple, more soft. And the second thing that you should take care when using a shampoo is actually the method of shampooing. So many times I see that people use shampoos only on the scalp and leave the strands because this should not get more dry, but that's not correct. You should actually use the shampoo on the strands as well because it requires cleansing from all the buildup that is there of the conditioner and the serums that you have been using. And the exposure is similar for the strands as well. Therefore, the cleansing should be uniform. Although the practice of just jumbling up the hair and cleansing should not be practiced because that will lead to more split ends or more hair breakage. So you can actually follow a linear pattern to spread the shampoo into your strands so that you can detangle your hair also simultaneously while cleansing the strands. And then the cleansing of the rinsing with the water should also be in a linear fashion. So these are some tips that you can follow with the shampoo.
Yeah, I think also a lot of people fail to, recognize the importance of using a sulfate-free shampoo on a regular basis or a pH balanced shampoos on a regular basis. Can you help us know if there are any signs of, the shampoo is not being the right one for us, considering we're not using a sulfate-free or a pH balanced shampoos regularly? I'm looking for the signs where we can check it on ourselves and see the condition of our hair before switching up our shampoo to a sulfate free or a pH balanced shampoo.
Right. So the hair is just out there. It is going to tell you whether it's liking a shampoo or not. From the first wash itself, people tend to know that it is this shampoo for them or not. Because if the shampoo is not correct for you, if it's too harsh, you may get dryness, you will have extremely frizzy hair. You may even see signs of hair breakage where on the pillow you're seeing small and bigger various lengths strands of hair falling. So you will know that it's causing hair breakage. Eventually, you will start seeing split ends on the hair. The graying may also be very fast in people who are using very strong shampoos or very undiluted shampoos directly on the scalp, especially on the one area. Sometimes you tend to take the shampoo, apply it on one area, and then spread it out. So, such kind of activities will lead to more early graying and more damage on certain areas of the scalp.
Yeah. Also, you would suggest diluting our shampoos before we shampoo it on our hair, right? Because I see a lot of them, directly using the formulation of the shampoo directly on the scalp without diluting.
See, nowadays we are getting very mild shampoos as well, which do not require dilution. If it's a very mild shampoo which does not foam or lather so much and it's very mild on the scalp, you can actually use it directly. But it's always a good idea to use shampoo in 1:1 dilution and start like that. And then once you feel comfortable or you feel that the shampoo needs to be a little stronger in cleansing, you can actually use them directly. But if it's not a sulfate free and not a pH balanced shampoo, you should definitely dilute in a 1:1 ratio with water and then use it. At least once a week, clarifying shampoo could be additionally benefit for you.
That was really informative, Dr. Ipshita. And my next question is for Dr. Anika. Can you tell us how often should we wash our hair in summers and why is it important to use a mask or a conditioner afterwards?
Right. So, as I mentioned before, that the cleansing routine of your scalp will depend on your scalp type and, your activity levels. But basically, at least 2 to 3 times a week is the bare minimum that you should be doing for all scalp types. And if you're someone with a very oily scalp or a lot of activity, a lot of sweating, like some people are working out very regularly, maybe even athletes, in that case, you should actually be cleansing maybe even on a daily basis, because the bottom line is if you have a lot of sebum in your scalp, if you have a lot of debris buildup, then you do need to cleanse that out so that the scalp will be is basically able to breathe as well, and you don't allow the dandruff and fungal overgrowth on the scalp. So it's really important. I've actually also seen the opposite where people are overwashing. So I see it especially in my male patients that maybe before work they wash, then in the evening if they have to go out they'll wash again because they feel that the hair is starting to look thinner. Females do it too. I think if you have a party to go for, if you maybe want to style the hair or something like that. But I would say that do not overwash as well. It'll lead to a lot of dryness, brittleness, breakage, and fall ultimately. And even the scalp health, and as you mentioned, and as Dr. Ipshita also spoke about the pH balance of the scalp and everything, that is also important. So if you're overwashing, you're stripping the natural oils, you are causing a disbalance of the natural pH of your scalp and skin, and that's also not great. And it can actually lead to a point where it's not reversible as well. We have a natural flora in our skin and in our scalp, and if you kind of tamper with it too much, it can be detrimental in the long run. So it's very important to strike that balance. And once again, as Dr. Ipshita mentioned, that you have to also, your hair responds to you. Like, you use a shampoo and you just know, this worked for me, or it didn't feel good, or my hair is suddenly feeling really dry. Like, I remember I've used a shampoo in the past which was sent to me, and I hated it. Like, I washed my hair once and I just felt like I can't even run my fingers through my hair. So your scalp and hair do tell you like the realistic idea of what's going on, and just kind of be mindful of what your body is also telling you. And as for the importance of conditioners and serums, it, of course, like I think this is so, now thanks to social media and raising awareness and all of this, we do now know that conditioners and serums are important, but they are actually very important. So our hair tends to be very dry, whether, no matter what type of hair you have, the majority of the population will always have dry hair, maybe an oily, dry, or combination scalp, but the hair will always be dry. So now, to combat that, you have to make sure you're using conditioners, hair masks, you have to use serums. If, sometimes the conditioners and hair masks don't cut it, serums, leave-on conditioners also help. And look for ingredients like argan oil, coconut oil, even sometimes shea butter. I've seen hyaluronic acid also in the masks and hair conditioners these days. So these are great ingredients to hydrate. Ceramides, they basically help to seal up the shaft and prevent further damage to the hair. And it is very important because, the hair is a dead structure. So ultimately, if it's very damaged, you will have to get it trimmed or cut to kind of allow the new growth to come in and just allow the hair to be fresher again. There's no kind of resolution of very, very, very damaged hair.
Yeah, also, I think a lot of us, especially women, are confused if they have to use a mask or a conditioner post-wash, considering like the different hair needs and the different textures of our hair or something like that, because every other hair type is different, and we are often pretty confused, not knowing or not sure about if we have to use a mask or a conditioner. What would you suggest, using a mask or a conditioner depending on the hair types?
So conditioners are a little easier. So this is like what I feel, what I tell patients that are very busy, and mask is not always a very practical option. Ideally, you are leaving the mask on for at least a bare minimum of 10 minutes, if not up to 30. Whereas conditioner, you can leave on for just a few minutes and you can rinse it off and you're good to go. With a hair mask, what happens is if you've not left it on for the adequate amount of time, it's not able to hydrate the hair enough. And then when you rinse it out, you have trouble getting the mask out. So sometimes you can have like a product buildup or product left behind. So I feel like if you're very busy, try to at least do a mask once in a week or once in 2 weeks. And the conditioner should be a regular thing. If you have very, very dry hair and you can afford to take out like a good 10 minutes to leave on the mask on your hair, then you can do that. Because I've actually realized, like I mentioned, that the mask does tend to build up and it can get a little heavy. Another challenge is if you already have very fine hair or thinner hair, masks are considered very hydrating and heavy, right? So if you're regularly using the mask, the hair can look a little limp just from the hydration and the weight of the mask. So sometimes in that case, the person would prefer a conditioner over a mask. So no doubt the mask will give you amazing hydration, but you also have to consider what your hair will look like post-wash. So definitely conditioners and masks give you a good bounce, good shine, good volume, good hydration. But in general, hair masks do tend to build up on the hair as well, and sometimes they can cause some heaviness and create a little bit of a thinner look to the hair.
Yeah, I also see a lot of people are tending to use more hyaluronic acid. And I think even I fell for the fact that using hyaluronic acid post wash and before the serum will make my hair look more luscious and more smoother, and the texture more, making my texture more softer to feel like. Do you think this really works, or is it a gimmick that people are tending to follow?
No, absolutely. It would work because hyaluronic acid as a molecule is hygroscopic, which means it loves water. So if you're using hyaluronic acid on your hair, it will attract water, it will hydrate, it will make the strands look a little more dense, a little shinier, a little plumper, because it even has that kind of see-through appearance as well, you know. So the appearance of hyaluronic acid itself also kind of creates that illusion or that effect. I won't say illusion, but that effect. So yeah, hyaluronic acid is a great ingredient, but I also think that the concentration, the formulation, those are very important. So to some extent, you could call it a gimmick if someone is claiming to have hyaluronic acid, but it's in a very, very, very low quantity or concentration, or maybe the purity of it is not great. So in that case, we don't really know what kind of effect it'll have. Whereas if someone has, you know, like if it's like a good kind of scientifically well researched and backed product with an adequate quantity of hyaluronic acid, then maybe you would actually see the benefits of it.
Yeah. Also, can you tell us like what's the best thing we can do in this summers if we are meant to use a mask or a conditioner post hair wash, and how do we follow our hair care routine after using a mask and a conditioner differently?
Okay, so you know, there are two ways you can use a hair mask according to me. One is something called reverse conditioning, where you're basically dampening your hair. You can spray it or anything whenever you wake up. Apply the hair mask on the hair strands, wait half an hour, and then go ahead with your normal shampoo and conditioner. So I find it easier for people that are working or busy. You know, it's just kind of something you can do. You're brushing your teeth, you've already put the mask on, you wait 10, 15, 20 minutes, and you do your usual shampoo and conditioner. Whereas traditionally we wash the hair with shampoo, conditioner, then we put a mask, and then we sit for 30 minutes. So that's quite tedious, and I don't think that's very practical. Like for me, that never happens. And then when you ask me about like what is the right way to follow like a routine, I don't think you can standardize it. But if I had to tell you like a general outline to follow, at least do a hair mask once in a week, if not once in 2 weeks. That will give you good hydration. It'll combat any frizziness, brittleness. Choose your hair mask according to your hair type. I've seen people with fabulous hair, silky, shiny, soft, smooth, bouncy, everything you want in hair, and they just use conditioner and no mask. You know, so you have to also realize everyone has a different hair type. I've heard of people just using shampoo and still they have amazing hair, honestly speaking. So you do need to take into consideration what kind of hair you have and how your hair responds to various products. And as for the conditioner, the ideal routine is you cleanse your scalp and hair the way you normally would with a shampoo. You apply you kind of semi dry the hair, apply the conditioner, try to run it through the strands, make sure you're getting it all over the strands. Do not apply it to the scalp or the top 2 inches of your hair so that your scalp is not getting congested. And then after about 3 to 5 minutes, you can rinse it off. So that's it. And you can just towel dry your hair. Try not to kind of really vigorously rub the hair. Don't, you know, those are just a lot of times people are in a rush. So they're kind of trying to rub the hair dry or something like that. So that should be avoided. And then you can even use the cold setting on the blow dryer to just dry the hair out faster.
I think that was a fantastic information you've given us, Dr. Anika, considering the damage that summers and the pollution keeps our hair through. We tend to overdo a lot of things, like consider it a mask or a conditioner. We tend to overdo it a lot to our hair, thinking that it will give us like the beautiful luscious hair, and forgetting the fact that it does more damage and it weighs down our hair this summer, causing, some overdoing of hair products will also cause back acne. I think, using it in the right direction, like you've guided us, will actually help us in achieving the beautiful hair all of us have always dreamt of. So my next question is for Dr. Ipshita. Dr. Ipshita, can you help us with what are some of the common mistakes people do when taking care of their hair during summers and how we can possibly avoid them?
Sure. So, summers, we have already discussed many of the mistakes that people are doing, and we've already discussed how we can do things correctly. One thing I want to add on is using a lot of styling tools or hair setting tools, because invariably in summers you will have more humidity, more dryness. So there's a very different kind of weather, much fluctuations in weather, which actually make your hair more frizzy and more brittle, And to tame those hair, we're using a lot of hair products which are used for hair setting, like gels, sprays, and creams, which are again causing more build-up. So, like you talked about back acne, we can also get face acne when you're using a lot of products, not rinsing them well, because most of the people will not be doing a shampoo every day. So the product is left on the hair for a much longer time, and that could actually be exposed to the side of your cheek, to the forehead, dripping down on the forehead, or once you're washing, it could be accumulating on the back and causing acne. So these are certain products, and also these products may cause some chemical reactions, causing allergies or irritant dermatitis, or it may cause itching, buildup, dandruff, and fungal infection on the scalp as well. So overuse of styling products should be limited to just events and parties where you want a very good look, but not on a regular basis. And same comes to styling tools. So using styling tools which are very hot, like hot irons, hot rollers. Just now, Dr. Anika mentioned cool drying for the hair. So that is a preferred method to follow on a regular basis to dry your hair. Although the first method that I would recommend is sun drying, which is always better if you can limit the exposure to the hair. I always advise my patients to tie a white cotton cloth on the face, and then just for the hair, they can use the sunlight to dry. The kind of shine that you get when you're sun drying your hair is actually good. And this is a limited time, just a 5 minute of drying of that extra water that is dripping down. And then once you come back, you can just roll your fingers and dry your hair further, or use a cooler roller. So these are certain natural methods which are less damaging for hairstyling, which can be followed.
Yeah, I also see like there's a lot of videos going around for of using SPF on a scalp before we get into the sun exposure. Do you think that's really effective in protecting the SPF, I mean the sun damage to our scalp?
Absolutely. The UV is already causing a lot of damage on the hair, and we are protecting our skin a lot. We have already understood the importance of sunscreen for skin. More than skin, the hair is exposed to the rays because they directly fall on our head. Our strands, they may get more brittle, more dry. You may have early graying because of UV exposure. There can be more breakage because of the UV exposure. So a good sunscreen would really help you out. Although it's a newer concept, so you have very limited formulations in the market. So you'll have to choose one that actually suits your hair aesthetically, because they may make your hair a little sticky. I have patients coming in saying that they tried it out, but it made their hair very sticky. They had to wash it every day, or sometimes it's causing a lot of dryness. So we are yet waiting for a good formulation that can suit every kind of hair. But the concept of SPF and sun protection for hair definitely works. It is going to be healthier for hair in a longer run.
Yeah, I also see that people tend to have a very earlier graying of hair, or their hair turning out brown with prolonged UV exposure or something like that. Is there a way we can, where we can physically, a physical barrier where we could possibly protect our strands hair? I mean, the hair strands or the shafts.
Absolutely. Using umbrellas, using bandanas, caps, and hats, all of those are recommended. They will not just protect your hair but also your skin. So you can try all those things to physically limit the exposure. When you're traveling, always sit on the side of the cab which has less sunlight. So these are small conscious decisions that you can make to limit the exposure of sun and direct heat on the scalp.
Yeah, that was fantastic, Dr. Ipshita. Thank you, doctors. It was an absolute pleasure having you both as guests on the show. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope this session was helpful to you as much as it was for me. Feel free to drop in your queries in the comment section. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to Requil's YouTube channel for more such interesting conversations. Thank you.